What happens when a global wrestling superstar steps into one of the most unforgiving combat arenas in the world? When bright lights fade, the scripted drama disappears, and all that remains is raw violence, discipline, and heart. This wasn't sports entertainment. This was real. This was sweat, sacrifice, and survival inside the cage. And on this night, the world witnessed the long-awaited mixed martial arts debut of Bautista, a man stepping away from fame and into fire. Conditioning had never been a weakness for Bautista. Throughout his decorated career in professional wrestling, he had built a reputation for discipline, size, and relentless work ethic. But MMA is a different beast entirely. Leading up to this bout, Bautista openly admitted to media outlets that this training camp was the hardest physical challenge of his life. And that statement wasn't promotional hype, it was reality. Combat sports at the highest level demand not just strength, but endurance under chaos. They demand resilience when your lungs burn and your mind begs you to stop. Mixed martial arts combines everything brutal about combat: striking, grappling, clinch work, wrestling exchanges, and ground control. Unlike boxing, where the pounding is primarily upright, MMA forces the body to absorb impact from every angle. Fighters slam onto canvas, grind against the cage, fight for underhooks, and battle exhaustion every second. The pounding isn't just physical, it's mental. And for a 43-year-old man making his professional debut, that mountain is even steeper. Bautista didn't take shortcuts. He immersed himself in the culture of combat sports. Training out of Tampa, Florida, he opened his own Gracie Jiu-Jitsu gym and surrounded himself with seasoned minds. He sharpened his grappling, refined his striking, and conditioned his body for war. But preparation and performance are two very different things. The real test would come under the lights, against a veteran who had already lived this fight dozens of times. Across the cage stood Vince Lucero, a battle-tested heavyweight with 44 professional fights to his name. Experience like that cannot be faked. Lucero had seen it all: early knockouts, grinding decisions, wars on the mat. He wasn't coming for a paycheck, he was coming to spoil a debut. When the cage door locks, reputation means nothing. Only skill remains. The arena buzzed as the tail of the tape was read. Bautista weighed in at 265.5 pounds, lean, powerful, and visibly ready. Lucero tipped the scale at 300 pounds, a seasoned force from Arizona with veteran grit in his eyes. 3 5-minute rounds scheduled in the heavyweight division. The referee assigned to oversee the action, Dan Marro. No script, no second takes, just reality. As the bell rang, tension exploded instantly. Round 1 began with both heavyweights squared up in the center. Bautista's hands were high, cautious but focused. Lucero wasted no time. A sharp right hand cracked through. Then another. And another. The veteran understood urgency: pressure early, test the nerves of the newcomer. Bautista absorbed 2, then 3 significant shots in the opening exchange. For a moment, the debut jitters were visible. Lucero pressed forward aggressively, landing clean rights and mixing in knees. It was exactly what experienced fighters do against debutantes: overwhelm them before they settle. Bautista backed toward the cage, his defense still adjusting to the rhythm of real combat. The crowd roared as Lucero poured on pressure. But here's where things changed. Despite eating clean punches, Bautista did not panic. He walked through the shots. That ability, to absorb impact and remain composed, is something you cannot teach easily. Years in professional wrestling had conditioned him to physical contact. But this was different. These were small MMA gloves. Every punch carried real consequences. Lucero continued landing left hands and right crosses. Bautista, however, began firing back with heavy kicks and counters. He clinched. They wrestled against the cage. Lucero tried to control posture, even sneaking a grip on the fence at one point before releasing it. The referee separated them. The center of the canvas awaited. Then came the moment. Bautista switched stances and shot in for a takedown. Clean entry. Powerful drive. He secured it. The crowd erupted. The question leading into the fight had been whether his grappling training would translate under pressure. Now the answer was forming in real time. Bautista advanced position, working methodically. He attempted to isolate arms. He adjusted his knees. He stabilized his base despite Lucero's size. From top position, Bautista began raining down hammer fists. Heavy, direct, relentless. Lucero, a veteran, tried to defend, but the ground and pound accumulated quickly. Bautista flattened him out, controlling from mount and side position. Punches landed from both sides. Referee Dan Marro hovered closely, watching for intelligent defense. Lucero's responses slowed. 2 more heavy shots. 3. That was enough. With just under a minute remaining in the first round, the referee stepped in and stopped the fight. Technical knockout. The arena exploded as Bautista rose to his feet victorious in his professional MMA debut. It was over. But emotions ran high. In the aftermath, words were exchanged between Bautista and Lucero. Competitive fire boiled over. Perhaps frustration from earlier showmanship. Perhaps adrenaline. The moment carried intensity. But when the dust settled, the result remained clear. Bautista had secured a first-round TKO against a 44-fight veteran. During the post-fight interview, Bautista was candid. He admitted nerves got the better of him early. He acknowledged being rocked. He spoke about butterflies backstage. Honesty like that reveals something deeper than bravado. It reveals respect for the sport. He credited his team, his coaches, his training partners. He emphasized that the true victory was earning their respect in camp. That statement alone shows the mindset shift from entertainer to martial artist. In MMA, respect isn't given for fame. It's earned through grind. This debut wasn't perfect. There were defensive gaps. There were moments of visible tension. But there was also heart. There was composure under fire. There was execution when it mattered most. For a 43-year-old stepping into one of the most demanding sports in the world, that speaks volumes. And the bigger picture? This fight symbolized courage. Reinvention. The willingness to step outside comfort and risk embarrassment for growth. That's something anyone, fighter or not, can respect. Was it the cleanest performance? No. Was it meaningful? Absolutely. Bautista proved that preparation, humility, and belief can carry you through doubt. He faced a legitimate veteran and finished the job. Not with theatrics, but with ground and pound and grit. The long-awaited debut delivered drama, intensity, and a reminder that MMA respects effort above all else. If you love combat sports stories like this, where courage meets chaos, make sure to follow, subscribe, and stay tuned for more deep fight breakdowns, legendary debuts, and unforgettable cage moments. Drop your thoughts below. Should Bautista fight again? Who would you match him up with next? Let's talk fight game. 3 messages remaining. Upgrade to Plus to keep the conversation going. When the cage door opened and the adrenaline slowly began to fade, something bigger than a single fight lingered in the air. This was not just about a first-round TKO. This was about identity, reinvention, validation. For Bautista, the victory represented far more than a winning debut. It was proof that stepping into unfamiliar territory, no matter your age or reputation, is still possible when backed by discipline and belief. The immediate reaction from the crowd was mixed. Some were impressed. Some were skeptical. Others simply didn't know what to make of it. After all, when a global celebrity transitions into a brutal sport like mixed martial arts, doubt naturally follows. Critics question authenticity. Fans question legitimacy. But inside that cage there are no scripts, no retakes, no protective choreography. Every punch that lands is real. Every takedown requires timing and strength. Every second demands composure. And that's exactly what made this win significant. Breaking down the technical performance. Let's look beyond the emotion and into the mechanics. In the opening minute, Bautista clearly felt the weight of the moment. His high guard was present, but his reactions were slightly delayed. Vince Lucero's right hands found their mark early, and those clean shots revealed the most obvious area Bautista would need to sharpen moving forward: defensive awareness in the pocket. However, what stood out was durability. Heavyweight MMA gloves leave little margin for error. A clean connection can change everything instantly. Bautista absorbed multiple solid strikes without folding, without panicking, and without retreating recklessly. Instead, he adjusted. That mental reset under pressure is something many debut fighters struggle to find. Then came the tactical pivot. Rather than continuing a striking battle with a seasoned veteran, Bautista executed a well-timed level change and secured a powerful takedown. That moment revealed intelligent fight IQ. He recognized the danger and shifted the battleground. That's not beginner behavior, that's preparation meeting opportunity. Once on the ground, his grappling training began to show. He worked from dominant positions, controlled posture, and delivered calculated ground and pound. His hammer fists weren't wild, they were placed with intent. He used weight distribution effectively, keeping Lucero flattened while avoiding unnecessary scrambles. For a first-time professional fighter, that composure was impressive. Was it perfect? No. But perfection is rare in debuts. What matters is adaptation, and Bautista adapted when it counted. The veteran factor. Facing someone like Vince Lucero was no small task. 44 professional fights create instincts you can't manufacture in a short training camp. Lucero came out aggressively because he understood momentum. He knew testing Bautista early would either expose him or break him. It didn't break him. That resilience changes narratives. Often when celebrities step into combat sports, they are matched with soft opposition. But Lucero was experienced, durable, and dangerous. That adds credibility to the victory. Bautista didn't coast, he overcame. And overcoming is what builds legitimacy. Mental warfare and emotional spillover. The post-fight tension between the two heavyweights hinted at something deeper. Adrenaline amplifies everything: respect, frustration, ego. Bautista appeared visibly emotional after the stoppage. Perhaps it was the pressure release. Perhaps it was frustration from earlier exchanges. Or maybe it was simply the realization that months of sacrifice had culminated in a defining moment. Transitioning from entertainment to legitimate combat requires shedding ego. In professional wrestling, physicality is intense but controlled. In MMA, chaos is unpredictable. Bautista had to confront doubt, not just from critics but from within. In his post-fight comments, he admitted nerves got the best of him early. That honesty matters. Many fighters hide vulnerability. Bautista embraced it. And that vulnerability makes the story stronger. A factor or a myth? At 43 years old, stepping into professional MMA is rare. The sport is notoriously unforgiving. Reaction time, recovery speed, and endurance typically favor youth. Yet age also brings discipline, patience, and emotional control. Bautista's physical conditioning was evident. His frame remained explosive. His strength translated directly into grappling dominance. While younger fighters might possess speed advantages, experience in life often provides mental steadiness. The question moving forward wouldn't just be about skill, but sustainability. Can a 43-year-old continue competing at this level safely and effectively? That depends on goals. If the objective is proving legitimacy and testing personal limits, he accomplished that. If the goal is climbing rankings and building a long MMA career, that requires deeper strategic planning. What comes next? After a debut victory, options open. Rematch with another veteran? A fight against another crossover athlete? Or perhaps a step back to refine skills before returning? If Bautista chooses to continue, defensive boxing refinement would be crucial. Head movement, distance management, and counter timing must evolve. Heavyweight divisions reward power, but they punish defensive lapses instantly. On the ground, however, he showed promise. With continued development in Brazilian jiu-jitsu and positional control, he could become a dangerous grappling heavy striker hybrid. But the most important asset he carries into any future bout is discipline. He proved he is not in this for spectacle alone. He trained seriously. He respected the process. That foundation can't be faked. The broader impact on MMA. Celebrity transitions into combat sports often divide fan bases. Some purists resist them. Others embrace the mainstream attention they bring. But when handled authentically, such crossovers can elevate exposure without diminishing integrity. Bautista approached MMA with humility. He didn't claim instant greatness. He didn't demand shortcuts. He immersed himself in gym culture. That earns respect among fighters. When someone of his fame willingly steps into a cage against a seasoned opponent, it reinforces one truth: MMA commands respect. It is not a novelty. It is not a sideshow. It is unforgiving reality. The emotional weight of the first fight. There is something uniquely terrifying about a first professional fight. Months of preparation. Endless sparring rounds. Bruises, fatigue, diet restrictions. Then, under lights, all preparation compresses into seconds. The first punch changes everything. Bautista felt that moment early. He admitted being rocked. He admitted nerves. But he also admitted wanting to do it again. That desire is telling. Many debutantes, after experiencing real cage pressure, reconsider. The adrenaline crash alone can be overwhelming. Yet Bautista expressed interest in returning. That suggests he didn't just survive the experience, he embraced it. Lessons from the debut. Preparation reduces fear, but never eliminates it. Experience matters, but heart closes gaps. Adaptability wins fights. Respect for the sport earns respect from fans. Bautista demonstrated each lesson in under 5 minutes. If he fights again, future opponents would likely analyze this debut closely. They would notice the early vulnerability to straight punches. They would study the takedown timing. They would prepare for heavy ground and pound. The second fight would be different. No longer a mystery. Now a study case. And that is where growth becomes essential. The bigger picture, reinvention. Perhaps the most compelling element of this story isn't the TKO. It's transformation. Reinvention requires courage. When someone already successful chooses to risk failure publicly, it signals internal drive beyond fame or money. Bautista didn't need MMA for recognition. He chose it for challenge. That alone reframes the narrative. He stepped into discomfort willingly. That resonates beyond sports. Closing thoughts for this chapter. The debut of Dave Bautista in mixed martial arts wasn't flawless, but it was authentic. It was raw. It was earned. A first-round TKO against a seasoned veteran validated months of preparation and silenced at least some skepticism. Whether he continues fighting or not, this moment stands as proof that growth doesn't have an expiration date. That discipline can open new doors at any stage of life. That courage under pressure defines more than victory alone. And if this was only chapter 1, then the real story may just be beginning. What did you think of Bautista's MMA debut performance? Do you believe he should take another fight and continue building his record? Drop your thoughts below, share this breakdown with fellow fight fans, and stay tuned for more in-depth combat analysis and legendary debut stories. The fight game never sleeps, and neither do we. Boxing glove fire.